Welcome to What, Series 14, and we're up to number 31. We're really getting into this, aren't we? We're looking at chapter 16 again, and this is the part 2. This talks about where Hagar flees from Abram and Sarai. And we start about verse 7. The angel of the Lord appears to Hagar and instructs her in this bit. It says this, "Now the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, 'Hagar, Sarai's maid, where have you come from and where are you going?' She said, 'I am fleeing from the presence of my mistress Sarai.' The angel of the Lord said to her, 'Return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hand.'" Whoa. Now, the angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water. Now, Hagar's escape led her to that. Perhaps she was afraid of going further and leave this supply of water, because, well, there wasn't a great deal of water in that area. It's in her difficulty is where the angel of the Lord meets her. Isn't that what happens so often? And it says there, and he said, seemingly, the angel of the Lord was a physical presence who spoke with Hagar as you would talk to me. We don't have the sense that this was a mere spiritual impression or a voice in the wind. There was a person physically present with Hagar, and that person is known and identified as the angel of the Lord. Later in the text, it shows that Hagar understood that this physical present person was God himself. When God himself is physically present, we understand that it is the pre-incarnate appearance of Jesus. That's Jesus being in bodily form even before he was born. Now that's a big thing, and that's for a different day. We understand this because God the Father, it says, no one has seen God at any time, only the begotten Son who is in the bosom of the Father. That comes from John chapter 1 and verse 18. And no man has ever seen God in person, and that's in 1 Timothy 6. Therefore, if God physically appeared and spoke as one person to another in the Old Testament, that's where we get the idea that this is the appearance of the eternal Son, Jesus, the second person of the Trinity, if you want to put it that way. And this is definitely before he was born in Bethlehem. Now, it goes on that the angel of the Lord would appear to Abram as well. The angel of the Lord, and that's in Genesis 22, the angel of the Lord would also appear to Moses and to Balaam, and the list goes on. And the angel of the Lord would later appear to Israel collectively in Judges chapter 2. An angel of the Lord would also appear to Gideon in Judges 6. He gets around a bit, doesn't he? The angel of the Lord would appear to Samson's parents as in Judges chapter 13. And it goes on again. There's a few of these appearances. The angel of the Lord would appear to David in 2 Samuel 24. And later on, he appears to Elijah in 1 Kings 19. You see, this is not just a flash in the pan. This is the first appearance of the angel of the Lord in the Bible. Yeah, the first one. And who does he appear to? A single mother-to-be in stress, who was left in the lurch by the father and mistreated by a woman who put her into this whole mess. Jesus always comes to us, and he's a faithful, faithful God. All this makes us amazed at God's love for the unlikely. And we should never forget that he offers so much care and support in the way that he comes to us. Where have you come from? And where are you going is what the angel of the Lord asked. And they're insightful questions, and I dare say he already knew the answer. In Hagar's pride and misery, she reacted without thinking. Where have I come from? Where am I going? Remember, those two questions would save us from a lot of trouble. Hagar thought she knew. I've come from the most terrible place ever, and I'm going nowhere. That's the inferences. The angel of the Lord told her, I got a plan for you, so let's keep moving forward. But it's a bit of a scary plan. Return to your mistress and submit to yourself under her hand. The angel of the Lord told her to basically change direction, which is the meaning of the word that we use, repent. Change direction and go back. Yeah, obey me and I will protect you. That's the concept. Jesus didn't exactly tell Hagar to go back to the abusive household. No. He implied the promise of protection. Yeah, absolutely. Verse 10 to 12 talks about the promise of the angel of the Lord to Hagar. It says, then the angel of the Lord said to her, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly, so that they shall not be counted for a multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, behold, you are with child, you shall bear a son, you shall name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard of your affliction. He shall be a wild man. His hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him. He shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Wow. I'm not sure I quite like that prophecy for my child. But it does say, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly. God not only implied the promise of protection, but gave an amazingly staggering promise of blessing.